Hey there everybody, it's Mike DiLisio, and today I'm going to be reviewing Orbita from designer Kunnil and publisher Korea Board Games. Orbita is a bit of an iteration on two earlier games by this designer known as Ptolemy and Hipparchus. And it takes elements of both and kind of puts them together into this new game that utilizes some hand management. It almost feels like a trick-taking game, but it's not exactly. Why don't we head over to the table? I'll show you how the game plays, and we'll come back here, and I'll let you know what I think. Here you see the components for Orbita. This is a two-player card game, and in the game there are 4 different suits of cards. There are 7 of each of those cards, so a 28-card deck, and there are planet markers for each of the 4 different suits. At the beginning of the game, each player is going to be dealt 14 cards as their hand. After each player is dealt 14 cards, that player is going to look at their cards, but it's very important that they cannot rearrange the order of the cards as they were dealt. So for the purposes of this overview, I'm going to just show you how each of these players' hands look like in the order that they were dealt. Okay, and so here are the 2 hands in the order in which they were dealt. Again, in the actual game, you would not be playing open-handed like this, but for the purposes of this overview, I will do so. You'll choose a first player randomly. Let's say that this is the first player. What they're going to do is they are going to play from 1 to 3 cards in a particular suit and move the planet marker that number of spaces, depending upon the number of cards they were played. You have to play cards, if they are next to each other, you have to play all of them from 1 to 3. So in this case, if I chose to play blue and I wanted to go from here, I couldn't just pick one of those blue cards. I'd have to play both of them. If I wanted to play a single blue card, I can take this one or this one. If there's ever a situation where you've got 4 or more, then you could play 1 on one round, and then on the next round you can play the next 3. But if you have from 1 to 3 and you're choosing to play them and they're next to each other, you have to play all of them. So in this case, if you were going to play this green set, you'd have to play all 3 of those green. Okay, so let's say that the first player is going to play cards, and they decide they want to play both of these blue cards. All right, so they would play those blue cards out, and then they're going to move the planet marker the according number of steps. So all the planet markers start off the board. This is the starting spot. So blue would go 1, 2, like so. The next player, the following player, would do the same thing, except they could not choose the same suit. So this player could not play blue cards. So maybe what they decide that they're going to do is they're going to play these orange cards right here. So they take those 2 orange cards, they play those, and then they're going to move the orange marker. Now, if a space is occupied, you skip it and go to the next space. So 1, 2. At the end of a round, when cards have been played by both sides, then you're going to determine which one was the stronger. And in this case, orange is on 3, blue is on 2. Player 2 played orange, so they're going to take this round. They're going to take all the cards of this round, and they're going to place them face up in front of them in scoring piles. You have to be able to see what the other player has taken as far as how many from each suit. Also, you might notice on this board that there are some pluses. If there's ever a situation where there's a tie between numbers, let's say that orange was here, but blue had ended up over here, whichever one has the plus would be higher. 3 plus would be 3. Okay? So, player 2 won that round, so they're going to lead to the next round. So let's say, for example, they're going to play this blue. All right, they play the blue. They move the blue 1. This player could choose to play anything but blue, and they decide that they're going to go ahead and play this orange. Now, the reason they may want to do that is now they've got a situation where they could play 2 purples together in the next round. So they move this orange 1. Orange is on 5. Blue is on 4. So player 1 would actually take these scoring piles. This is going to continue until the game ends, and that's going to happen when either one player is out of cards to play, or if a following player only has cards of the same color as what was led. So for example, if player 1 led with the green suit and player 2 only had green cards left in their hand, that would also trigger the end of the game. Then at that point, you're going to move on to scoring. Okay, so let's say this is what it looked like at the end of a game. You're going to go through each suit and evaluate who has the majority, and then points will be scored based upon the number of cards that the non-majority player scored. So let's just go through them. In this case, in the green suit, player 2 here has the majority, but they're only going to score what player 1 has taken. So 1 point here for player 2. Player 2 also has majority in this blue suit, and they're going to score 3 here. So that is 4 total points for player 2. Player 1 has a majority in orange. They score 3 here. And they have the majority in purple and score 2 here. So at the end of the game, the winner would be player 1 with 5 points, player 2 with 4 points. And that's how the game is played. Let's head back up and we'll let you know what we think. All right, so there you have Orbita, a 2-player game. And first, I just want to talk about the production because, look, this is just a little card game. It's in a small box, but it's a beautiful production. I mean, there's some very nice foiling on the cover here, the screen-printed wooden planet markers, the nice cardboard, kind of thick cardboard board there. Very nice quality cards. They are without numbers. They're just basically the art and a bit of iconography. I don't think that color blindness would be an issue in this game because, each card is very distinct from the other in its design as well as its color. So really nice production just to get that out of the way, first of all. Now we get to the gameplay. And this is where I think this game is really going to shine because it's a very simple concept on how you play this game. Basically, you cannot reorder the cards as they were dealt, and we've seen that before in other card games. I think Scout is a very big, relatively recent example, very popular game where you have to keep your cards in the order in which they were dealt to you. And so Orbita does that as well. And what it kind of allows you to do is potentially set yourself up for later rounds in the game because, as you maybe remove cards, you're going to be bringing other cards together that maybe will give you some more options. And so I like that element of it. I like the way that you are somewhat restricted in how you play cards, in that if you've got cards of the same suit next to each other, from 1 to 3, you have to play all of them. And so that creates some interesting decision points. But really what this all comes down to is the scoring. And that's where kind of those 2 games I mentioned earlier come together. So much of the actual card play elements are from Ptolemy, but the scoring is from Hipparchus, and it was really a clever scoring, and I love that it's been done here because it works just so kind of deliciously in that there are 7 of each suit, 7 cards of each suit, and so it's pretty easy to determine, it's very easy to determine how many of the cards your opponent will have because, you can just see what you have versus what they'll have and be able to know that. But you don't know the orientation within their hand. In other words, if you know they have 3 orange cards in their hand, are they all together? Are they all singles? Is it 2 and 1? That can really make a huge difference. And so you're getting some information, but not all of the information. And you really want to set it up ideally so that you're not only winning the majority in a suit, but you're doing so in such a way that your opponent has won, 3 ideally of that same suit that you win the majority in. And that just feels so satisfying when you can make that happen. Obviously the way the scoring works is that, it's going to usually be pretty tight scoring. I have seen games where one side just kind of one player just kind of runs over the other player. But there's also this neat element of where when you see that the other player has scored 4 of 7 cards, and you haven't scored any, you ideally want to just kind of give them all those cards so that they win all 7. They're not scoring anything for that suit. So I really like the kind of unique scoring element meshed with the compelling card play that goes along with it. And so it's a short game. You really just play through you're not going to necessarily always play the same number of tricks, if you want to call them that, just based on how things play out. But it's going to be a relatively quick game. It's one where oftentimes you're going to want to just kind of deal it up and go again, maybe do a best out of 3 type of a thing if you want to get a little bit longer of a play experience. But just a really clever game, a beautiful production. I'm giving this an 8 out of 10, Orbita. This is yet another in a very strong lineup that designer Cundell has come out with. Jekyll versus Hyde is one of the very well-known ones. But they kind of specialize in 2-player trick-taking games, trick-taking adjacent, shedding games, things along those lines. And wow, really a designer to keep an eye out for in this space for sure. All right, well, that's going to do it for me. This is Mike DiLisio. I'll see you on the next one.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you like this review or whatever you just watched, wasn't it amazing? Check out our channel, Dice Tower. We have all kinds of things. We review games, we do top 10s, we play games live. It's all about board games, but especially the people who play them. Check out Dice Tower YouTube channel.